The movie starts by showing a real video from the Yemeni War in a place called Mocha back in 2015. There was a lot of trouble for many years, and a group called Al-Houthi, supported by outsiders, finally took over the Yemeni government that everyone knew about. They controlled most of the area, including the city of Sanaa in the north and Aden in the south. A big fight happened between two groups, the rebels and the loyalists, and sadly, innocent people got caught up in it. Over time, many terrorist groups showed up in the area, so the Yemeni government had to ask for help from their friends and a big group of countries called the International Coalition, which included the United Arab Emirates. They all tried to make things calm and safe again, and this happened because the Yemeni president, Hadi, asked for help and the United Nations Security Council agreed. Right now, most of Yemen is a place where there's a lot of fighting, and the United Arab Emirates patrol forces have an important job. They have to help the people who live there, but the fighting in Yemen hasn't stopped, even though it's been 3 years since the United Arab Emirates sent their troops to help. The scene then shows the military base in Mocha, Yemen, where soldiers from the United Arab Emirates Armed Forces are getting ready. There are some high-ranking soldiers, like Sergeant Major Bilal, Ali, Hindasi, and Faisal. They're doing exercise training with their buddies, and you can see the excitement on their faces. They're happy because their job in Yemen is almost done, and they'll be heading home next week. Meanwhile, not far away, two soldiers named Sayari and Balusi, part of the medical team, are washing a car. After their workout, Ali starts crafting a wooden horse statue. He plans to give it to his daughter as a birthday present when he gets back home. In short, Ali and his buddy are getting ready for their usual patrol today. They'll be using two tactical cars, 01 and 02, to go around the hilly area. Their mission includes giving out food and making sure the local people are safe. Today marks the last patrol for Ali, Bilal, and Hindasi before they head home next week. Once they were all set, they left the base. Meanwhile, Colonel Masuri, who was in charge of the rapid response team, was chatting with Captain Said. He mentioned that he'd be heading out next week to take a promotion exam. So he planned to suggest that Captain Said take over his role in the rapid response team. Back with the patrol crew on their way, Ali got a call from his wife, who told him she wasn't feeling well and was going to the doctor. Shortly after that, they spotted two Yemeni patrol vehicles, and one seemed to be having some trouble and needed fixing. Bilal hopped out and talked to the Yemeni troops, who reported some suspicious activity nearby. Hearing this, Bilal asked Ali and Hindasi to check it out while he asked Patrol Team 02 to lend a hand in fixing the Yemeni vehicles. After that, Patrol Team 02 would follow Bilal and his crew. As they were driving along, they came across some local people, and they decided to share the food supplies they had with them. During this chat, civilians told Bilal that they'd heard gunshots coming from behind the hill the previous night. Without wasting time, the three of them quickly moved behind a nearby hill to investigate. Soon after, Bilal got a call from Patrol Team 02, saying that the Yemeni troops' vehicle had been fixed, and they were on their way to catch up with Bilal's team. Unexpectedly, while Bilal and Patrol Team 02 were driving, they were suddenly ambushed by terrorists hiding on the hill. Shortly thereafter, Central Headquarters received a report about the attack on the patrol team. Khalun al-Jamal, who was in charge at Central Headquarters, wasted no time and ordered Masiri and said to prepare the rapid response troops. Meanwhile, Central Headquarters also sent unmanned aircraft to the scene to get a clear picture of what was happening there. Masiri then told Sayari and Balusi to get ready, while Captain Said did the same with Faisal and his team. The rapid response troops were all set and left from Central Headquarters with full force. Meanwhile, Ali and his team found themselves stuck in their car, unable to escape. They decided to get their weapons and gear ready while attempting to reach out to the empty Patrol Team 02. Sadly, their car's communication device was damaged and Ali's cell phone had no signal. Outside, they could see enemy troops getting closer to their vehicle. Meanwhile, Patrol Team 02 was still under heavy fire from bullets and RPGs, and they weren't sure how long they could hold out. On the flip side, the rapid response team kept moving closer to the scene and contacted Patrol Team 02. Letting them know they'd be there in about 10 minutes. Meanwhile, the leader of the terrorist squad, a guy named Coder, started moving towards Patrol Team 01. He even told his buddies to film their attack. Next, Coder ordered his crew to shoot RPGs at Patrol Car 01, and if that wasn't enough, They also planted landmines on the road to trap any reinforcements. Inside the car, Hindasi looked seriously hurt from the RPG fire. But as the rapid response team neared Patrol Team 02's location, their leader, Mashorror, decided to take a quick break for safety. Before long, they spotted Patrol Team 02, who had somehow escaped but had a badly damaged car. Mashorror and his team hurried to help. The enemy, seeing this, got ready to launch a mortar attack. Mashorror then told his team to step back. Once they were out of the mortar's range, he got in touch with Central Headquarters and told them to send a drone to find where the enemy mortar was hiding. Colonel Jamal handed over full control of this mission to Mashorror. He stressed that no matter what, Mashorror had to rescue all their troops. Colonel Jamal didn't want the enemy to capture any United Arab Emirates soldiers. It was crucial for the country's image and security. Mashorror then rallied and motivated all the troops, whether from the Rapid Response Team or Central Headquarters. He reminded them that their buddies in Patrol Team 01 were still trapped and under attack. The enemy had a stronghold, and Mashorror suspected there could be hundreds of them. This wasn't some ordinary attack. The enemy had planned it well. But he also told them to be ready to do whatever it took. Mashorror recognized the enemy's skills and stressed that they shouldn't underestimate them. But he also pointed out that their real strength wasn't just their weapons, it was their unity. Mashorror made it clear that they were the only hope, and they had to bring their comrades back home, no matter what. Ali finally got a signal and immediately reached out to Central Headquarters to check if the Rapid Response Team was on their way. His buddy informed him that they were close by. Bilal was anxious for the Rapid Response Team to arrive quickly, especially because Hindasi was badly hurt. Feeling things were safe, Mashorror moved ahead, while his troops waited. Surprisingly, the enemy refrained from attacking, luring the troops deeper into their territory. When they got closer, Khodr ordered his men to fire mortars again. Fortunately, Mashorror and his team managed to dodge several mortar explosions. It seemed like Mashorror had intentionally walked into the enemy's trap, hoping to pinpoint where the enemy was firing mortars. Once the enemy's mortar coordinates were identified by a drone, Central Headquarters called in Apache helicopters to provide air support. Mashorror rejoined his fellow troops, ready to move once the Apache helicopters arrived. On the flip side, Khodr was frustrated because he couldn't destroy Mashorror's vehicle. So, he and his men launched another RPG attack on Patrol 01. This attack caused Bilal to suffer a severe leg injury. Khodr then urged Bilal and his team to surrender, promising they would be spared. However, Bilal and his team refused, and Ali opened fire on them. Khodr was furious and decided to set fire to the oil under Patrol Car 01 in an attempt to force Ali and his team out. In the midst of this crisis, Ali managed to contact his wife and asked about the results of her doctor's visit. His wife shared some joyful news. She was pregnant with their third child. This news, however, left Ali feeling even more somber, as he wasn't certain if he would make it out alive and see his family again. After talking to his wife, Ali asked Bilal to promise to take care of his children if he didn't make it home safely. Back with the Rapid Response Team, Captain Said approached Mashorror and requested permission for him and a group of troops to advance ahead. Captain Said did this to ensure the safety of Bilal and his team. Mashorror readily granted Captain Said permission. As a result, 2 Rapid Response Team vehicles moved forward, Captain Said and Faisal in one car with their colleagues and Sayari and Balusi in the medical vehicle. Upon learning of the Rapid Response Team's arrival, the enemy quickly relayed the information to Khodr. Hearing this, Khodr and some of his troops decided to leave Bilal and his team. Seizing this opportunity, Bilal and his team hurriedly abandoned their burning vehicle. The billowing black smoke from the fire provided some cover, helping them evade the sniper named Bagheri. Ali spotted a safe place for cover and urged Bilal and Hindasi to change their positions. Unfortunately, this was a challenging task for Bilal and Hindasi due to their injuries. They couldn't move far. Ali decided to move forward on his own to secure a better position and asked Bilal to cover him from enemy fire. In the midst of the intense battle, Ali was shot twice by Bagheri. Having successfully avoided enemy attacks, Captain Said instructed Sayari and Balusi to move ahead. Hindasi was relieved to see their arrival. Unexpectedly, Captain Said's and Sayari's vehicle hit a landmine, causing significant damage. Captain said then reported to mshorror that their car had been badly damaged by the landmine. Shortly after, the enemy closed in and launched an attack. Hindasi kept telling Bilal that they wouldn't make it out alive from this place. However, Bilal continued to encourage Hindasi, assuring him that they would be okay. Before long, an Apache helicopter appeared on the scene. mshorror, in communication with the Apache pilot, requested that the pilot disable all the enemy mortars. The pilot wasted no time and launched a rocket to strike the enemy troops. Khodr seemed more focused on the Apache helicopter, allowing Faisal and his team to assist Captain Said and get him safely into his car. Meanwhile, Khodr and his men persisted in their attacks, overwhelming the Apache helicopter and failing to destroy the last mortar. Additionally, Colonel Jamal didn't want the Apache helicopter to get disabled, so he instructed the pilot to evade and leave the area. Meanwhile, 2 fast response team cars were dispatched once more. At the same time, the enemy was observed planting more landmines along the road. Central headquarters noticed this and attempted to contact the 2 advancing cars, urging them to halt and avoid that route. mshorror also tried to communicate with them. Unfortunately, the communication equipment in both cars malfunctioned, so they continued advancing while exchanging gunfire with the enemy. They were getting closer to the overturned car of Sayari and Balusi. Spotting the 2 approaching vehicles, Sayari and Balusi hoped for a rescue. Regrettably, the 2 cars were also severely damaged by the mines, and the enemy continued to shoot bullets and RPGs at them. mshorror then requested the command center headquarters to provide a more detailed satellite image of the location. After scrutinizing it, mshorror had an idea. He believed that the disabled vehicles scattered along the road could serve as protective barriers to get closer. mshorror shared this plan with Colonel Jamal, explaining that the damaged cars on the road could act as shields to approach safely. mshorror instructed all the troops to await his signal. Initially, Colonel Jamal cautioned mshorror against moving forward, as he would become the main target due to his rank as the troop commander. However, mshorror insisted that they had to save all the troops, no matter what. Upon hearing this, Colonel Jamal instructed officers to dispatch fighter jets to the location. Meanwhile, mshorror led the remaining rapid response troops to advance and engage the enemy in a firefight, reigniting the battle. After a fierce struggle, they managed to rescue most of the troops, except for Bilal and Hindasi, who were still trapped, waiting their turn to be evacuated. In the midst of the thick black smoke from the burning car, Hindasi noticed that Ali's body wasn't moving at all. He expressed to Bilal once more that it seemed unlikely they would make it home safely. On the other hand, the enemy continued launching RPG attacks at mshorror's troops, disabling another machine gun on one of their vehicles. Meanwhile, Central Headquarters informed mshorror that an F-16 fighter jet had been dispatched from the airbase and would arrive at the location within the next 7 minutes. Consequently, Colonel Jamal urged mshorror to evacuate all the troops and leave the area. Upon hearing this, mshorror directed the vehicles that had evacuated the troops to withdraw, and they would be shielded by the vehicles that were still operational. As they were preparing to make their escape, Captain Said instructed his team to be ready to assist Bilal, Hindasi, and some other colleagues who were trapped in the vehicle. He volunteered to neutralize the sniper, who turned out to be Bagheri. Captain Said signaled mshorror with a code, and mshorror fired a smoke shot into the air. Captain Said and his team used the thick smoke as cover, allowing them to move without being spotted by the enemy. Faisal discovered that Ali had tragically passed away. He gently carried Ali's lifeless body and placed it in the car. Meanwhile, the battle continued to rage on, with the enemy relentlessly trying to attack mshorror's troops. On the other hand, Captain Said successfully located Bagheri and swiftly eliminated him with his firearm. Finally, Faisal, carrying Ali's body, reached mshorror's vehicle. Ali's body was safely secured by his comrades. Bilal, who was beside Ali's body, appeared deeply saddened by the loss of his best friend. All the troops boarded the vehicle, including Captain Said, who also climbed aboard. Meanwhile, Khodr continued firing his weapon randomly until he ran out of ammunition. Unbeknownst to him, mshorror's troops had successfully evacuated and left the area. Shortly after, the F-16 fighter jet informed mshorror that they were approaching the target. mshorror ordered the pilots to drop all the bombs they had. As for the remaining members of Khodr's troops, they fled the scene, leaving Khadr alone, ultimately falling victim to an F-16 fighter jet strike. During the journey back, Bilal couldn't hold back his tears while sitting beside Ali's lifeless body. Their fellow soldiers also wore somber expressions, including Colonel Mshorror. Together, they offered prayers for their fallen comrade. Upon reaching headquarters, the medical team promptly provided care to the injured soldiers. All of Mshorror's troops then gathered, with Colonel Jamal stepping out of the command room to pay his respects to Ali. Ali's body was gently taken out of the car by his comrades. The movie concludes by showing Ali's military funeral procession. Following that, Bilal fulfilled his promise to Ali by taking care of his children. Additionally, Bilal presented a horse statue, crafted by Ali and intended as a birthday gift for his daughter. The moral lesson from this story is that even in times of danger and hardship, loyalty, sacrifice, and the strength of friendship can inspire people to make selfless decisions to safeguard and support one another.